I'm Melissa Tiaga. You're watching Primetime News on Channel News Asia. Galvanized into greater cooperation, the recent double natural disasters in Asia prompt world defense leaders to call for closer international coordination and preparation. The man at the focus of Tide, senior government officials from around the world have called for tighter international cooperation and preparation to handle natural disasters in Asia. Now, this comes in the wake of the twin catastrophes in Myanmar and China. At a high-level security forum in Singapore, officials agreed that a global crisis management system is needed for better organization of relief efforts. Singapore and Malaysian defense ministers have also agreed that the military is a crucial element that can rally help effectively in humanitarian crises. Channel News Asia's Asha Popala reports on the final day of the Shangri-La dialogue.
On relief and rehabilitation,
Myanmar's Deputy Defense Minister Major General Ai Yin told the gathering of top defense officials that his country had broadcast to the people a warning about the cyclone more than a week before it struck. He also said the military government is ready to accept aid as long as there were no strings attached.
We are trying our best for relief, resettlement, and rehabilitation of our storm victims because they are our people. But you have to understand that every process will not be totally perfect. So, and as I explained earlier, we are welcoming assistance and aid from any country or organization all around the world without any.
But that evoked a sharp response from some clearly frustrated members of donor nations. A French parliamentarian even said he would press his government to propose a UN resolution that could hold the Myanmar government liable to be brought before the International Criminal Court.
We need a system of sanctions to stop the scandal of having hundreds of thousands of people dying with help waiting outside and having a lecture about non-interference in domestic affairs. I'm sorry maybe to change the tone of this very polite international gathering, but I think it is my duty to do so.
Ministers from ASEAN focused on possible solutions. The Malaysian defense minister called for a greater role for ASEAN and the military, although he recognized that there are diverging views on military involvement.
The only viable organization that can really act effectively is the military. And I think I speak on behalf of my other colleagues as well. We certainly would like to see ASEAN being allowed to play a much bigger role because the situation is very, very serious in Myanmar.
Meanwhile, in a separate news conference where no cameras were allowed, U.S. Secretary of Defense Robert Gates said his country was within days of making a decision on whether to move out the aid ships which have been anchored off the coast of Myanmar for some time now. Asked whether there was any other alternative, he said the only alternative was to force aid upon Myanmar, and that was something that all the defense ministers had unanimously agreed was not an option. Besides the clear respect for sovereignty, discussion also centered on the issue of responsibility.
John asked whether what we discussed yesterday results in a new responsibility, and that is the responsibility to invite. I would say that it is really a responsibility to provide, and it is a responsibility of all national governments to provide for the welfare of their people. And if they're not able to provide for it, then it is their responsibility to see what other resources they can garner to help to provide for their people.
The three-day Asia Security Summit, also known as the Shangri-La Dialogue, ended on Sunday. Asha Popala, Channel News Asia, Singapore.